Hello and welcome to Keep On Cybertrucking, a podcast where Cybertruck owners share their experiences, talk about all things EVs and technology. My name's Eric. We have Chase. We have Will. Is that you, Will?
Yes. Despite the background, it's not Will. Yeah. It's not to hide. It's to stay nice and cozy warm.
This is uncircumcised Will right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. A lot of extra turtleneck.
Yeah, he's got a little extra going on over there.
Yeah, now I can't stop seeing it. Damn it, Chase. Disappoint.
Anyway. So last week was a jam-packed full week podcast. I think it went well. It started off a little shaky with I don't know what was going on. We kept getting disconnected, but nonetheless, we were able to get the full live stream and we were able to react as it was happening. I was really happy with the way that went. And I mean, I think we got a lot to talk about that event a week later. But before we do that, I want to kind of just get some things out of the way, some stuff that I found over the last few days. First one is a baby, I guess, cyber tent. Not really.
What?
Oh, okay.
So Tesla is now selling the Model Y Canopy. So it's just a cover. It's not a tent. It's just a cover. Yeah. So it's something like if you're at a park and you want to sit in the back like you see there.
As somebody who frequently lugs my own gear around for jobs where I have to pack it into the car myself, I have to break down carts, move stuff around. These sort of things have always been a lifesaver because you need to have the trunk open, but you've still got stuff to deal with. And I'm like, honestly, depending on the way that it's designed, because it looks all right, but I mean, I guess you'd be worried if it might get stolen, but if you're in a private parking lot, it might be okay. I would just put this on in the morning, unload my gear, and then come back in the afternoon with it still up and just, I mean, obviously the trunk closed, but be able to just pop right in and just immediately redo it, because it doesn't look like it's super, I mean, it looks pretty fast to put up, but these things can be a lifesaver.
100%.
That would be my question: is does it require the trunk to be open? Because it might look like it's just support or something.
It does look like it's just the support. Because all you've got is the ratchet strappy type things in the windows. Well, no, actually, those might be tensioners. In the very, very, very left of that last photo. It looks like there's something kind of in the back. Not this photo, the previous one.
Yeah.
It looked like they're... Yeah, like very left of the screen. It looks like there's something that latches into the window. A bit further left.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Because when you go to the other photo, it looks like it goes up underneath the initial part of that, the I guess the top of the blouse or whatever you want to call it. And it seems like there's something there. So it's either holding it, short so it doesn't slack down or something. I don't know.
I agree. I like it.
Someone get one. Tell us what happens.
I mean, I think it's just an accessory for, I mean, like you're saying, you can see a use for it, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people that would see a use for it as well. So I just wanted to kind of share that. And
there's plenty of stuff you could blow $150 on, and it wouldn't. I think you could still barely scrape the utility of having that the one time you wish you had it.
Yeah.
And for $150, I'm like, oh, that's some peace of mind. I would definitely buy it, put it in the trunk, and just say, hey, use it when you think to.
Yeah, a lot of people are like truncating, I guess, not really tailgating. The Rivian R1S is kind of toting that same deal, and I think they should follow suit with this, because something like this with the Rivian would be great too, because they kind of designed it so that you can. It's a twofold trunk setup, so you have like a platform to sit on, and then the tailgate or the top of the tailgate comes up to try to help protect you from rain, but it's not that big. So this would be great for that too.
So let's acknowledge everybody in chat. So we have Hugo, Jay, Mr. Hunter Biden. Mr. Biden is stating that he hears some static in my mic. I'm not sure if you guys are picking that up at all.
Not picking up on my end, but I wonder.
Maybe it doesn't. It's not carrying through on mine.
All right. Well, let's hope that goes away if it hasn't already. So what's up, guys? Appreciate you guys coming back each and every week. Let's get into the next thing, which something that we're seeing more and more happening, and that is Nissan now is getting into the energy charge network.
Oh.
But I wanted to show how they are going to the NACS adapter for their charging interface. So
Yeah.
once again, I mean, it's one of those things where, everyone's kind of, the standard is becoming NACS. And I mean, that's a great thing, I think, for just having something that's universal, less accessories, less adapters, less all that. It then also opens them up to the ability to possibly do supercharging, which is great, but something that we have to be aware of. More manufacturers are giving this to these companies. There's going to be, these superchargers going to be that much more packed. So
I think that they see the fact is, aside from the fact that Tesla has it and boohoo between the competitors, I mean, it's a plug. Somebody was going to have to win. The Edison outlet won. The OSHA connector was forced and then won. It's
USB-C.
There was like USB-C. Thank God we finally have something we can just be like, just C. We're stuck with C. It's going to be that shape forever now. And it's going to be like that with the Tesla. So it's like, I'm sorry, with electric vehicles, it's like, oh my God, just like pick one plug. Let's just use that one. Because we're just fracturing. We're what's the word? Fragmenting our fleet of vehicles while we're trying to convince everybody to join the fleet. And if you make it more difficult to understand how and where to charge, you're losing. You're immediately fighting a battle you didn't need to.
100%. So yeah, right here, this quote right here states that 100% that in 2025, Nissan will be offering their EVs to U.S. and Canadian markets with the NACS port. And this adapter, they're also going to be providing an adapter which is compatible with Tesla Supercharger locations. So there you have it. They're going full in with the NACS and supercharging network. So, Ford's doing it, Rivian's doing it, Chevy's doing it, Nissan's doing it. Everyone's going to be doing it here soon, I'm sure.
And you should be doing it.
Yeah, the issue that I had with the adapter this last week, speaking of, because I've got the V2 charger in the garage with the Rivian, and I kept noticing, I was like, I would plug it in and I would get 9.5 kilowatts of charge for about like 10 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, and then it would drop down to 4.5 kilowatts, and then would stay at that 4.5 until it was done charging. But so I looked into it, and it looked like 100%. It was basically thermal throttling it. Like the adapter was getting too hot. So to the point where like I actually thought I was just going to return the Electron adapter and then go over to A2Z. So I actually have an A2Z adapter coming, as well as an A2Z like CCS adapter as well, just for like road trips. And then today, apparently a fall just started today in Austin. Like it hasn't been fall up until this point. Like quite literally yesterday it was like a high of 100. And then today it was like a high of like 72. Autumn turned into winter really fast. So I was like, okay, let's test it out. And lo and behold, today, since it was much cooler, it didn't thermal throttle. It was totally fine. Like 9.5 kilowatts the entire time.
So you think it's related to the temperature outside?
The outside temperature, the heat, yeah.
Interesting.
Which I guess is just an unfortunate side effect if you're like, okay, if you live in a hotter climate, like talking, south parts of the United States, where it's going to be pretty hot in the summer, and you're wanting to use, if you're wanting to use like a Tesla charger with the adapter, you just have to consider the possibility of thermal throttling that could happen. Because it doesn't happen just with the Tesla charger. It's because of the adapter that it now has to do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because I have the same adapter, because my wife has a Jeep 4xe, and we haven't had any issues. It gets hot over here, but...
Do you charge in the garage or outside?
In the garage.
So you're charging outside as well.
Okay, so yeah, maybe the sun just beating down on it. It's it's making it malfunction. We're just talking about his.
I think I have the Electron adapter.
Wanted to show.
Yeah,
that's the one that we have. Yep.
I think it's got to be that having it charge outside, and the fact that it's been pretty hot lately, even in October, is probably just a case for it's just too hot, so it was throttling it back, which is unfortunate because then it charges at like takes 12 hours to charge full rather than like
try changing the amperage, because I'm pretty sure I've got the Electron one.
We have
I've got the
Hunter
Electron
Biden.
charger, that adapter as well, and I use it with my Tesla one. And I don't think I ever charge it at like 9 kilowatts. I think I only ever put it like 6.7 or whatever it is, and I don't think I've had the overheating problem. So that might get you close to it without throwing a foul.
Yeah. Did you change the amperage in the Rivian itself?
Yeah,
Like
you basically just tell it, instead of trying to take the full 40 amps, like dial it down to like 32 amps or even lower if you really feel it. But yeah, you can. I think you can do like 30 amps, 32 amps, and you might get less thermal issue.
Cool. Okay.
That makes sense.
Good.
We have Hunter Biden in chat saying he's interested to see how many non-Tesla EV owners will use superchargers. I think a lot of them buy non-Tesla to boycott Elon. Will they be able to refuse superchargers? That is an interesting point, because there are a lot of people that truly, truly hate Tesla and Elon, as we've discussed many times on the show with different Reddit subreddits that, you know, really go after Cybertruck and Tesla. So it's a good point. Will people shy away from superchargers because they have, you know, some type of feeling towards Tesla and Elon? I don't know.
I don't know. I think convenience is going to win in the end of the day, because I think a good test of that was Out of Spec did a road trip, and that was back when it was earlier this year. They did a road trip with R1T, Cybertruck, and then the new Silverado RST. But the issue with the RST is that Silverado wasn't on the Tesla network yet, and even though they had, you know, a larger range with like the 440 range battery, they were still kind of coming up short because they were limited on charging access, whereas the rest of the two was able to use Tesla chargers.
I think it's one of those. I think it's like people have
at the time
people have known about the horrors of oil companies for years, and they still buy gas from them. So I think, you know, there's a difference between buying a vehicle from somebody and being like, "Ooh, I'm contributing to Elon," versus I'm buying $20 worth of electricity from the grid that's padded a little bit into Elon's pockets. So I feel like, yeah, convenience is going to win out when it's like, I still got to go where I want to go. Darn it! But they'll still take it.
I'm curious to see, because we have planning a road trip coming up here soon up to Denver from Austin, and so I'm really excited about it early November, mainly because there's some really cool like trails that we could kind of run off to and see along the way. But yeah, I'm curious to see like the prices, because we intend to use more Tesla chargers if we can along the way, but I'm curious to see how they will fluctuate compared to like what we're used to charging your own, which I can make you guys get.
You're going to be shocked.
Like, I think 11 cents per kilowatt that I pay for.
Prepare to be super dissatisfied.
Yeah, so it could be just as much as gas cost wise too.
Dude, I seen somebody charging the other day on Instagram, I think it was, and it was 68 cents.
Oof. Yeah,
at a supercharger. I was like, man.
Yeah, because they got that surge pricing or whatever they want to claim it now. So,
oh my gosh. So, what are you gonna do? Kind of want to run through stuff real quick because I want to get to the event last week. Let me pull this up.
Yeah, Hunter's saying Denver superchargers are 35 cents to 40 cents per kilowatt hour.
Okay, so he's in Denver. Cool.
That's what I'm questioning too, because like I had a good experience with EVgo with their charging, so I wouldn't mind hitting up EVgo in a way as well. But yeah, I'm just curious to see how that price is going to.
I'm trying to remember if it was a EVgo or the Electrify America chargers that I tried. But when I was driving to Vegas recently. I went to Baker, and they have Electrify America chargers, and I'm pretty sure they have EVgo ones somewhere nearby. Or maybe it's vice versa. Anyway, it was a very disappointing experience because I had the Rivian. I'm sitting there wishing I could be properly supercharging at the Baker Supercharger, which is like 80 stalls with 100 million more to come, like right there, already done. And I'm sitting there trying to get the Electrify America. I'm pretty sure it was the Electrify America. Getting their charger to go above, what was it? The top speed was like 40 kilowatts. Like that's the max it would go to. It would spike up, try to go higher, and then it would just settle back down again. And I looked in the car, and it's like, your speed is being throttled by the provider. And I'm like, thanks. Appreciate giving me that heads up. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like the broken charger problem is something that Tesla users have not had to ponder. But now it's going to start pressing on them because, my local supercharger's full. Let me go try that one in the Target parking lot that's the EVgo or whatever.
Yeah.
They're going to have to start being interested in this now.
Yeah. I did like EVgo because they don't. I mean, ChargePoint. Never again. I learned my lesson.
Avoid at all
for
costs.
sure. That's a no go. EVgo was such a night and day interaction where I could just plug it in and then pull out my credit card and then pay for it right there and not have to worry about an app or anything. It was seamless. ChargePoint, on the other hand, oh my god, that was
there is an app that you can like basically download, and I think you pay a simple membership for. And then it changes, it like reduces the rates at the charger whenever you go to it. So people who are going to rely on EVgo a lot, you can pay for this membership, and then you get like a cheaper per kilowatt, price. So
I can see that.
The arbitrage has begun.
Yeah.
Wanted to show you guys, I'm not sure if you guys seen, Fiat has a little commercial for their EV, the 500e, their EV vehicle. Have you guys seen this?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not.
Have you seen this, Will? Okay.
Okay, I won't say anything yet.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. So here we go. So they're
shock and awe.
the Cybertruck to their Fiat. But the funny part is they're not putting down the Cybertruck. They're kind of, it's almost like a dual advertisement.
I think that they're kind of they're playing with like a double entendre about like, it's like, hey, that's a really manly truck. This is a very soft and curvy vehicle.
Yes.
But it's kind of like giving shit in a way passively to Cybertruck people, because I think that it's kind of being like, see, they're those toxic jackasses. We're fun and enjoyable and whatever. if you're considering like a male driving each of those cars, I think that they're playing to a pretty unfair assertion it's becoming in our culture globally.
I mean, it depends on the size of the male.
That is true.
The Fiat's pretty small.
It is a small vehicle.
It reminds me actually of what we saw last week, because we were speculating with what was going on with McDonald's. Like McDonald's was like hyping up 1010, and I think just McDonald's is just like riding the coattails of Tesla news. And I think that's what Fiat's doing right now, is that they're like, hey, the Cybertruck's hot. Let's put out a commercial.
They got played.
And then they're getting us to talk about it. Because
they're getting exactly what they need. Even like I saw the official Cybertruck like channel, they had responded to it. They're like, thank you for saying so many nice things, and they're getting what they wanted out of it. So
it's like one of those, you it's gonna end up in a YouTube video pretty soon where somebody's like, McDonald's made fools of Tesla, some dude's face being like, whoa,
So now let's kind of discuss a little bit more the WeRobot, RoboTaxi, CyberCab. I mean, what are they going with? I still not 100% sure what's the name of it.
I've heard different things. Both CyberCab, RoboTaxi, a CyberVan, and then the RoboVan, or
well,
is there a fight breaking out in there? Is everyone okay?
Sorry, we got. It's just bedtime.
Okay, just say bedtime makes sense. Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, and I'm sorry just for saying this. I just figured that was Will's house.
You would be wrong. All too often.
I've just got one toddler. If you could imagine, I've got one toddler and then one on the way. You can imagine what's gonna be.
I was gonna say a toddler will outdo 3-4 kids. So, as far as the volume level and all that. So, hopefully bedtime goes a little smoother. But so I'm showing here, I'm talking about the names. So it's the same thing. I think they talked about RoboVan.
Mm-hmm.
They applied for RoboBus. So that's something that Tesla's, filing a trademark for, and see what, once again, like what's the name? RoboBus, RoboVan, CyberCab, RoboTaxi. It's kind of all over the place. So hopefully they get all that sorted out and we can figure out.
Or Elon will just start naming them like he names his kids. It'll be like Exile.
Well, I think it might be RoboTaxi and RoboVan is the official, because I just saw they put up a webpage on Tesla's website. So tesla.com/we-robot. Just kind of talk about the event and the reveal and autonomy for all. But they say RoboTaxi, RoboVan, Tesla Bot is what they're calling it.
Okay, so now it's Tesla Bot. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
which
gets a little confusing.
Actually, you might want to I'll share the link because that has some more information I haven't seen yet that they're offering on the site. So they mention a monthly lease payment. So features autonomous.
Let me get that pulled up. There we go.
Yeah, kind of like the footnote. Monthly lease payment is $412 before estimated gas savings.
They're already showing lease payments for this thing.
Is based on what is? Oh, it must be
that's a Model 3 long range
for full self driving with Model 3.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I don't think they would have that out yet. But
it's interesting they mentioned that.
See down here, you see it says RoboTaxi and RoboVan.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that trademark for it? I mean, it said RoboBus. Is there going to be a larger version of the van? I don't know. Or are they just trademarking that for their own purposes? Who knows?
I don't know. I saw people were jumping into the van and doing like interviews with Franz like on their like socials and that kind of stuff. That was cool. I do remember a couple of people asked, how long has this been in development? And he basically said not that long. Like, and he was like, they joked like since 8.8, and he was like, yeah, not too much further away from than that. So like, apparently this thing is like literally hot off the press.
Interesting.
Like they've barely been working on it like a few months.
Well, speaking of hot off the press, one thing that we were talking about was how the RoboTaxi had what looked like a stainless steel exterior. Mm-hmm. Well, Chase's good friend Sandy Monroe was at the event, and this is what his thoughts were on the exterior.
What is that thing anyway?
Yeah.
I had to.
Interesting. So he's saying the outside is carbon fiber?
He's saying it's a industrial plastic carbon. The exterior is carbon fiber, and then there's industrial plastics as well.
That's interesting.
So
it's plastics wrapped in carbon fiber.
This version of it,
and probably baked together or something like that to come up with something as strong as steel on impact. Huh.
Yeah. Well, that would make sense because it'd be super ultra lightweight that way. Because that was my other thought after thinking about, is this actually stainless steel or not? Of like the weight distribution is going to be crazy if it was all steel. That's one of the issues with the Cybertruck being so heavy.
And I wonder, I mean, when they're talking about trying to keep this thing at or below $30,000, the stainless steel may not be able to put them in that price point. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I would think it's probably harder to make and more expensive.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very, very interesting, because initially you just look at it and you're going stainless steel. Mm-hmm. They're copying the Cybertruck. That based off of what they had at the event and based off of what Sandy Monroe is saying, and I trust Sandy Monroe, he knows his stuff. So if he's saying it's carbon fiber and industrial plastic, then it's industrial plastic and carbon fiber.
I go with Sandy. Why not?
Yeah. I still think this is going to be the $25,000 Tesla that we've been hearing about. I think they could easily put in a steer-by-wire steering wheel and 2 pedals and sell it for $25,000. That's not fully autonomous. Because even if you look at like the price of full self-driving would be the difference between $25K and $30K.
So you think they're going to make a version that you can actually drive? I don't think so. I don't think they will. I think they're just going to they're going all in with the autonomy. That's that's what I think. I mean,
I can see it both ways.
Yeah, I would love for it to be where you can drive it, but I think their whole plan is to push the autonomy and the autonomous vehicle.
Right.
So I'm not sure, I mean, time will only tell, but I don't see how it would be a big issue to do what you're saying. Just put a steering wheel in, put some pedals, and add a couple things, and you're ready to go. So it could go both ways. I mean, it'd be fun and interesting to see if they were able to do that.
I just want to know how the new like Mexico plant is associated with this. Because at one point we heard that they like halted production on it because they were like, wait a minute, I think Trump at the time was talking about tariffs, and then they're like, we'll wait till the election to see, but then maybe things are not going that way. So it's kind of up in the air to see what's going to happen. I don't know, maybe he did a backdoor deal with Elon and was like, hey, give us the right away, or who knows?
Those backdoor deals. Hunter Biden's in chat. and he's saying that he thinks that regulations will prevent RoboTaxi within 2 years, and a good backup plan could be to add pedals and a steering wheel. So I could see that happening as well. So
I think it could be it could keep it out of a lot of states for sure until the states switch around. I think that's why they had mentioned that it'll be California and Texas first.
You're right,
because it's got the most lax regulation to date.
Yeah,
for this kind of thing. But yeah, I would be curious to see.
Am I frozen again?
Oh.
I've been bouncing back in and out. Don't pay attention to me. It's okay.
Another thing that I wanted to point out about the Cybertruck, that's something that wasn't shown in the stream, but was noticed by people that were at the event, is the fact that, you know, they talked about the inductive wireless charging system.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's some images from the event. You can see up on stage the RoboTaxi and what would be called or considered the charging pad. So you can see it here. You know, so that seems to be what they're looking to do, is having some type of pad. And I'm sure this would be something that you can install in your home and have it in your garage. But, you know, they talked about being able to have the, like, what would you say, like stations. We saw that vacuum come in and vacuum up the car and clean the screen and you know, the robot and all that. You know, will they have the inductive charging at these locations as well? That way it gets charged up while it's getting cleaned, and then it goes off and does its thing.
Notice the power on the bottom right. The first image showed 19 kilowatts, and this one's showing 21 kilowatts. It's actually pretty quick.
Yeah, you're right.
If you could get that speed at home.
Well, I think right here, look at this. So yeah, I think that's the plan, right? The plan is to have, I mean, if the idea is to have them out in the world,
mm-hmm.
moving around all by themselves, doing, you know, making money, they're going to need to charge very, very quickly to continue that process, right?
Yeah.
They can't sit for an hour or 45 minutes to charge up. You're going to want that thing charged up in 5-10 minutes. So who knows what they're going to do.
You bring up a great point. The making money is kind of asterisked, I still feel like, because making who money? I think if anything,
well, that's
I know, like I got into some conversations after last week of some interesting thoughts, and a lot of people were like, well, you know, there's got to be margin for people to, you know, still make money because they want to be able to like buy these things as a fleet. And I'm like, well, what if like Tesla just comes out and is like, well, you can only buy like 2 per household, or they limit the supply so that it doesn't incentivize like larger companies to just go buy up hundreds of these and try to make their own business out of it. Because I feel like that would be counterintuitive. It would give them the goal of having fleets in cities, but then they're at whim of these individuals that are holding all these. And I feel like it's a bigger liability. If they could just own the fleets and maybe outsource some of the charging stations, so like the real like business mindset people are wanting to get into, you know, having the least area for these charging stations, or like managing that, because there's still going to be some management costs there. But when Elon mentioned the price, when he was saying it's going to be like what 10 to, what did he say, like almost like 20 cents per mile?
I think he said 20 cents. Yeah,
20 cents per mile there's like zero margin there.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you owned the vehicle, like I feel like there's no margin to even make any money off of it. Like it's really priced so low that it only makes sense for the consumer to benefit.
Well, I remember he did mention during the live stream that he said something to the effect of being able to buy like 20 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, and now you have your own fleet. But once again, Elon tends to say things, and then, you know, legal gets involved or whatever the case may be, and they don't.
Well, the other issue is being $30K. Like I said, you could easily go have a business that goes out, gets a $3 million loan, buys, you know, 300 of these, and then, you know, runs their own fleet in a city. It's just, I don't know, it being that low of a price point, it doesn't really. I don't see the incentive.
Max is in chat, and he makes a good point. Yeah, the 20 cents per mile was discussed in regards to the bus.
The bus was like 5 to 10 cents per mile per person, so that's spread out between 14 people.
Is that
so
what
the
they
bus
said?
the bus would be more expensive, but yeah,
Okay,
I think
so
it was 20 to 30 cents, something like that. It was kind of that range for the RoboTaxi still.
our good friend Hunter Biden's in chat saying the 20 cents was for the bus and closer to 60 cents for the taxi. But
60 cents would make more sense.
He could be wrong. He says he could be wrong. So
you'd have to have enough in there. Like I said, we brought it up last week where I took an Uber and paid $1.68 per mile for a 4-seater. So it's like, and they're obviously paying the driver. So if you take out the driver, maybe you can get it down to 68 cents, but then you're still cutting the margin. So the only margin left is the people running the app or owning the vehicle. But I'm skeptical. I want it to be a money making business for a lot of people, just so that it gets adopted faster. But I'm not really sure how this is going to play out. I think if anything, it's going to be more played out for people that have a fleet of Model 3s and Model Ys. I think that's probably the play right now.
Well, I was just going to ask, let's talk about having a personal vehicle and then utilizing this type of service. Is that something that you guys would be open to doing? Would you buy a vehicle and share it with this type of service, or would you be more inclined to buy a vehicle and then put it out there to make money if, like you're saying, there was a margin in there, right? If it made sense.
You're talking to the two people who bought Cybertrucks to put it under.
Well, that's
yeah,
why,
really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's obviously I'm thinking about that. Like, it's like, okay, if the money is there, maybe, but it's still, I'm skeptical because even, okay, you go out, buy this thing at $30K, obviously you probably finance it. You're still coming out with like a car loan that's going to be what, $300, almost $400 a month. Is it going to bring in 400 plus a month in revenue per vehicle at that low of a margin? I'm skeptical.
That thing would have to be working those corners all day and all night.
It would have to hike up its leg, and just show a little skin to get that money. But I mean, because that's the same thing. Like I said, we got the Cybertruck early because we were like, all right, we had a day one reservation. Yeah. We knew that we were like, with the increased price, we had to make it a business, and we did the numbers, and we had a plan, and we stuck to the plan, both in and out. And yeah, when it made money, that was great. And when it stuck to the plan, that was great. But when it didn't, we got out. So yeah, that would be my thing, is I would have to lay it all out and see what it could actually do. I think if anything, like I said, the used Model 3s and Model Ys are going to be probably more lucrative. Maybe Model 3 over the Model Y, because the same issue is going to be like, you're going to have to, the income is going to have to outweigh the expense.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be a interesting 2 years or so.
I was interested in owning a Cybertruck and putting it on Turo for the idea of making a kind of a niche experience, a one-on-one kind of a thing. I would have to rethink entirely everything about if I was to try to buy one of those RoboTaxis.
I think it's the sweater.
You think, okay, if I'm going to buy one, you should get a couple or something because of the alleged profits you can make. But there's still a part of me that's like, okay, but how much time is it going to take from my life, and what is that? What does that cost?
I think you caught
so
it,
to speak,
Chase. But how
I'm reconnecting.
We were talking about how the tires were really, really thin, really, really small. And we were curious as to how that was going to work. Well, this close-up shot clearly shows that the walls of the tires are just painted.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like they're 21-inch rims or wheels. And then the tires themselves just have, what would you call that? A 2-3-inch paint job that's on the outer wall of the tire.
I saw people trying to use this as like a dig. You'd be like, see, they're faking it. And it's like, come on. Like, that's probably part of the design. Like, there's the aero caps for a reason. They're probably also, if they were smart, just to work with Goodyear or cut a deal with Scorpion or Pirelli, and be like, hey, we'll have exclusive tires just for the RoboTaxi, yada yada. So it's probably all that same kind of idea. Or maybe they're just going for the looks, maybe because it just looks more cyberpunk.
Now I'm looking at the paint job over here, or now I'm more curious on this, because as you can see it right here, that doesn't look like stainless steel. But
it's definitely gonna like sparkled paint.
Yeah, it has like a metallic to it. Wanted to show. Well, here comes the wheel.
So
There you
Cybertruck
go.
Turo.
Yeah, so Cybertruck Turo. I think that I just thinking about the idea of owning even like one RoboTaxi. How much does that cost out of your daily life? Like that's your time that you're going to have to dedicate because you don't get one of the robot arms to clean the screen, all that stuff. So when it comes home, assuming you can get the inductive charger, it's like, okay, you got to make sure that it's lined up. And while it's doing that, you got to make sure that the inside of the cab is cleaned out and all that stuff. And if you want to keep that thing working, especially in some of the hours where maybe you can get a leverage on your competition, it's going to be at night. So you're going to think about, okay, is it like me and my son are going to go into business together on this thing? Because I feel like even owning like one RoboTaxi is practically a job for two people. Just between somebody keeping it managed in the background. Like this is my whole thing with automation. It's like, yeah, you get rid of the driver, but you create two people trying to attend to it as opposed to the driver who was there attending to it beforehand. But
There
anyway,
he goes again.
I think that it's
Yeah.
quite a bit. God,
I agree because I felt that too. Even with just the Turoing the one vehicle, like I know Ethan or Easy Zabroni on X, he has like a fleet of like 20 Teslas, but also has I believe three or four employees just to do trade offs and handoffs. Like that's a big part of it. Like cleaning honestly is the worst part about it. And Tesla's smart to automate that process, but that's the worst part because it's like with just go follow him and read all of the horror stories with Turo and smoking in the vehicles because it's like Turo has actually gotten worse with trying to like penalize people for smoking the vehicle. Like he's tried to like do 3 reports for smoking with evidence, photos, and all that, and they've denied him all 3 times, and then the 4th time they finally said yes.
Wow.
And then they used to charge the person $250. Now they're only charging them $150. They pass that charge on to the user, but still, it's like pulling teeth to get what you're owed if they smoke in the vehicle.
Yeah, and that should never be the case. It shouldn't be that difficult for you to get your money.
Yeah. Same thing would happen with these RoboTaxis, which I think just puts the cards back into Tesla's hands because if someone ruins a vehicle, they have the parts to replace it, or just swap it out with a whole new vehicle. It's no loss to them except for labor and parts.
I wonder if they would offer some type of special lease program on these vehicles.
Yeah, like Uber did that for a while, where you could like lease a vehicle from them and they go drive.
You're right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, 100%. Maybe they work out some type of deal like that. Where if you get at least 10 of them and we charge you $150 a month or something. I don't know. There could be something there. So Hunter Biden's talking about maybe Tesla offers an automated cleaning service for owners. Max says it won't be done well if it's automated. That's kind of what I took from the event, was that they want to set up these automated cleaning charging stations areas that all of these. I'm just making an assumption. The only way it makes sense to me is if they're these warehouses or stations, whatever you want to call them, are put in certain areas. There's one in every city, so to speak. And the RoboTaxis, as they're just doing their thing, they know that they're close to one. And so when they see they're low on charge, or maybe after every drive or whatever the case is, they go over there, they charge up, they get clean, and they go back out. And whether that's Tesla operating them or if a owner is operating it's part of that system and that cycle. And they just, that's the only thing that would make sense to me. If they're not doing that, if it's coming back and it's just, you had 10 rides and the thing is just thrashed and dirty and now you got to charge it. Yeah, I want no part of that.
That's exactly where I think that the opportunity is actually at, where if you own space, if you have a warehouse, if you have space, you can lease that space to then put in a wireless charger, put in whatever robo vacuums are there, and then you're leasing that space for them. That's how they're able to like build that network. Because otherwise, if they want to go find all the real estate, it doesn't make any sense. It's kind of like what they're doing with the superchargers. Like they don't own the area that all the superchargers are being put onto, but they could then lease it from the owners themselves. I think that'd be the way to go. So if you do own a warehouse in some of these major cities, maybe keep keep some space open just in case.
Well, Max makes a good point. He says Amazon lets sellers store at their warehouses. So it's the same type of concept, right? Amazon has these warehouses everywhere. And as a seller on Amazon, you can send over pallets of goods. They get stored in their warehouses, and then, Amazon will ship it for you and fulfill your orders. And then there's a fee involved. So, are they kind of going to do the same thing with the fleet of cars? I go and buy 20 of these. They're out there, and every time it goes and stops at one of these cleaning stations, charging stations, I get charged a small, fee. Who knows?
Yeah. And I think I'm not sure if it'll be like a trickle or if it's just going to be a wave. Because if you look at the only thing I could compare this to is, do you remember in LA when the Bird scooters and the Lime scooters showed up? It was like overnight. It was like someone went one night and dropped them off everywhere, and it was just like now they're everywhere. It was just like there was no like other you see one or two like this was the Cybertruck. It's like it's just boom here. So I wonder if it's going to be like that with the RoboTaxi. If it's just going to be like, hey, Uber plummets overnight, Lyft plummets, and then now it's just RoboTaxi because it's cheaper and it's easier to do. Who knows?
Don't tell Uber or Lyft that. They'll be they're screaming right now. If that's the
I still want to know why the Airbnb CEO was there at the event. Like, I
guess so. It's very interesting. I mean, like we talked about, I think a lot of these companies just,
it's a cool event, maybe.
The coattails, and maybe the Airbnb. Maybe he's a huge stockholder, and he just wanted to go to the event. Yeah. So, who knows? I don't see how there could be any type of partnership with Airbnb, but maybe there will be. I don't know. I don't see how. It'd be kind of weird.
But what if you already have your house up on Airbnb? You automatically have real estate that you're invested in that you could house a wireless charger.
Maybe. I mean, technically, yes. But I think that's kind of... I don't think
it would be, but...
Yeah, that's kind of a...
Yeah, my other hesitancy to with RoboTaxi overall, specifically with that, is the length. Because you wouldn't be going from supercharger to supercharger anymore if you want to go across, a long distance. You would technically have to go from automated wireless charging.
That's also very interesting because they're talking about going to this inductive charging system. So what would they do?
I think it's the future regardless. I think inductive is going to be where Tesla's going to shift to, but it's going to take time. Just like V4 and like...
What do they do with the superchargers?
I think it'd be hybrid. Yeah. Okay.
Because they also mentioned at some point not even having a port on their vehicles. So, you can convert all of those. But then again, if they're all autonomous, it's just going to be interesting. I mean, we don't have any of the answers. This is going to be interesting.
It's going to be, a long time to speculate for sure, because who knows how long it's going to be before we actually see it.
There he is. He's back.
And meanwhile, Waymo is trying to go full hog in Austin.
Are they really?
They're trying really hard. Yeah,
you're seeing them everywhere.
I'm tempted to go order a Waymo and see how it is, but I keep seeing videos out of San Francisco where they people get it and spray painted before they even reach their destination.
Yeah, it's
this is wild.
It's crazy.
That's a good segue. I don't know if you wanted to talk about that one thing I sent you.
Which one?
With the Cybertruck.
A window got shot
just a
or something.
Screenshot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we could pull that up real quick. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. So it's ironic that this is one of the very reasons that my wife was really hesitant about us getting a Cybertruck, because we knew all the specs that it had, and bulletproof was the one, and she was like, I don't want someone to shoot it or shoot at us to try to test it.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my concern as well.
Yeah, so we're showing an image that says, watch out, Cybertruck owners. This is on the Cybertruck owners forum. Watch out, Cybertruck owners. The jealousy is real, as I got shot at yesterday in a Dairy Queen drive-thru in Tacoma, Washington, simply for having a Cybertruck. Take for granted that you guys only get flipped off and cold rolled. So,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's extreme situation.
Bullshit. I mean, Feel how you
that's
feel
crazy.
about the car, but don't attack me because I drive it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, thankfully the armored glass, like he did say that it deflected the bullet, so I don't think it actually penetrated. But still,
That's just wild, though. The fact that somebody would do that. There you go. What were they thinking, right? That's
totally.
what were they thinking? I mean, it's ridiculous. I did want to show we do have some footage of people that were at the events that were able to get into the RoboTaxi as well as the RoboVan. So let's go ahead and show that. We'll show the RoboTaxi first. Get your guys' thoughts on this.
It was my door this time. It's bedtime, Chase.
So that was I mean, it's very bare bones, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is what you would probably expect. But I will say this: there was more moving parts, so to speak, in the RoboTaxi than I thought there was going to be. For instance, I didn't think the screen he was going to be able to go to the games section and the theater section. Now, he didn't click on anything, so I'm not sure if any of those things were actually working. But the fact that the screen was just not set, and you're clicking it and it's not doing anything, I was actually surprised by that. So, and also encouraged that they have all that.
Feels like there was probably a number of mandates that Elon.
We were talking about it with my wife, and she brought up a great point.
Damn lag. I think that Elon probably put a number of things into play.
There he goes again.
And
wait, you got it.
I think that he probably wanted to see functioning user experience, especially if they're going to bring that many people in.
True. But yeah, like I think that could be one of the reasons, or that could be one of the ways to increase the margin on cost per trip, or even lower it, is basically advertisement. Like if you're just sitting there in the vehicle, just playing a game or whatnot, people could easily run ads on that. You're just sitting doing nothing. That's money for eyeballs right there. They were really good in the future.
100%. Now, I think the one that was most interesting was the RoboVan. See, I struggled to even know what to call these things. But here we go. Here's the RoboVan interior.
It's 14, not 12. Wait, it is 12.
The RoboVan.
RoboVan.
It's sacrilege right there. But it is 14. So you have 3, 6, then
7 on each side. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But which is weird because Elon on stage said 20.
I bet you it's rated for a max passenger capacity, and then they tell people that you can configure it a number of ways, or they can work with you to configure it, because it could be like I think that they had it in like a 4-3-3-4 configuration, but that was because they were facing each other. There might be other configurations where the walls are lined with seats and other passengers need to hold a center bar or something like that. Because I think that I saw that there was autonomous vehicles too. I think in China that are operating right now that I think that I had seen. The similar setup where it's like you sit in the front of the back, kind of airport tram style, if you will. You can sit on the very far ends, or you just stand somewhere in the middle.
Makes sense, yeah. It's not as visible as I thought it would be, because I think he had teased at one point, like, oh, you can like see everything, but you really can only see out the side, so you really don't have a good visibility of where you're going in the front or back. But
you really don't. I'm actually really, really excited about the van more so than the RoboTaxi. I mean, I can see, like I think I mentioned, I mean, you can literally, like I could see people renting this instead of a limo, doing wine tours and, going out for birthday parties and things like that. That would be a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun. I wanted to show you guys too. They also showed Optimus out at the event, and so I wanted to talk about. You guys can hear that, right? So I'm gonna just say this. I feel like, and this is just my feeling. I don't know anything, but I feel like these robots. There was a speaker, and there was somebody remotely speaking through these robots. I don't,
the audio sure sounds like that as far as what they're saying.
It just, to me, it's totally like, that's not just a robot AI, that's somebody speaking to you through the.
I thought that they did confirm that basically all of them were controlled in some way.
I haven't
But
heard
if you're
anything
gonna-
confirmation yet, but that's kind of the big upset yet.
Yeah, I think that's the speculation, but it just, to me, you do that is dumb.
Yeah.
You can't send out a bunch of robots, tout that they're serving you at the bar, and go interact with them, and it's all remote control. That is bad.
Welcome to bed. You know.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and listen to this interaction.
So what are
So yeah,
like the speech pattern, the way it interacts, like
yes.
it doesn't quite lead to say it's like it's not like a large language model that's automatically reading
that's
like
definitely a
reading
person.
the speech and then speaking back. But what I heard from people that were there that were like trying to confirm some of these things that were going on, it sounds like those robots that were in the crowd were basically driven by somebody, whether it's like actually driven the motion to show like what they can do and talking with them. But then the ones that were like serving the drinks and the hors d'oeuvres were basically all like autonomous doing their thing. Like that's what I read.
I also wonder, I'm speculating, okay? I'm being that guy. If there was any type of, even though this was live streamed, I wonder if there was some type of NDA or something signed, because I'm going to tell you guys this. I reached out to quite a few people to come on the podcast and talk about We Robot.
Yep.
Everybody declined.
They don't like us. Or yeah, you might be hitting it right on the nail of the head. Like
They
it
don't
could be an
even
NDA.
know
Everybody
us.
said that they couldn't. I don't think it has anything to do with us. I think those people just know I can't speak about anything. When I bring up, hey, how's the interior, or what's this, or what is the robots? Do you think that they're remote controlled? You know, they don't want to answer those questions.
What I'm
Right.
willing to say, kind of knowing Elon's, at least the way that the company seems to operate, is this: I bet you that anybody who gets the invites to the events, they tell them explicitly, you may use this in your own content on your YouTube, on your X, on your Twitter, or your TikTok, or whatever. You know, do not sit for interviews or something like that. If you do, you'll find yourself not being invited back.
Mhm.
Because I think they like bottlenecking and controlling and having a direct connection to the people who are effectively doing their marketing, which is all of these Tesla bulls out there. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's kind of an unspoken thing of, yeah, you could go do an interview. You just may find your inbox empty when it comes time for the next big announcement, you know?
Yeah. I won't name names, but I mean, I did hear people talking on X Spaces like about their experience of the event.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that's the gray area, but I could see them still saying like, I could still see them, heavily having an NDA be like, hey, don't
what I was
disclose
alluding
too much.
to is people, because I've seen people talk about it on social media or whatever, but that's them talking about it, not them being interviewed. I don't know if the people you're talking about were interviewed. You know,
Yeah,
it's
an open conversation type of.
That's what I was gonna say. It's like if I went to the event, we're sitting here and we're just talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would have told you before, hey, I can't talk about this, I can't talk about that, before we got on the thing, and so that way, you know. But if to come on an interview and now we're just asking questions, you know, I don't know. Once again, I'm speculating, but it just. Yeah. I thought that was very
actually
interesting that everybody said, no, I'm busy. So
you guys saw a live recording of me last week. I was actually there. I can't talk about it.
No, Eric, I would honestly say it's just, I think it's just one of those, like, you know, those guys run some of they take themselves very seriously is one way of saying it, and let that fall for a nicer or even meaner from there. Like, they are, like, in general, they're not going to come on here unless it helps them. And, you know, at this point, we may not have the kind of platform where they're going to look at us and be like, ew, why would I now? You know, just, so I don't think it's necessarily personal, but it feels personal, you know, but I think they're just sometimes being stingy with the business because they're not genuine enthusiasts. You know, here we are drinking beer and having a good time talking about this stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, some folks are just like, it's, you know, they're just out there for that dollar. I mean, we are too, but I mean, they're just not in it for the fun, man. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
that's what makes it fun.
We'll see. Hopefully at some point I'll keep reaching out to people. Maybe somebody will come on. Maybe I'm just being paranoid. But
it is interesting though.
It is. I just thought that was interesting that nobody wanted to talk about it. So but you would think everybody would want to talk about it, but I guess not. Before we wrap this all up, let's get into the wrap of the week.
Ooh, nice.
Before we wrap it, nailed it. Oh, hell yeah!
Here.
Ooh, I haven't seen this one.
So this is like a X-ray inspired Cybertruck, which I thought was pretty interesting.
This is a shoot here, don't shoot me there kind of a target.
Yeah, exactly.
That was the other clip. I think I shared with you guys that someone had like shot the back tailgate and was very shocked that it wasn't bulletproof, because it's like,
why?
The back tailgate and all the other panels are like 3 millimeters, and then the actual like
so.
doors are like 4 or 5 millimeters. It's bulletproof only
It's
where
like
it matters.
solid American
on the doors.
advertising. Like, this puppy can stand up to a 40 caliber at 12
Mhm.
feet. And you were like, oh man, give it to me. I want that car.
I like what they did with the bolt covers. Like, they
Yeah.
have a little red accent. That's nice. Did they paint the calipers too?
No, they are. They
calipers.
look
No.
white.
No.
Or maybe they're silver. I don't know.
Oh, they might have painted white.
No, I
yeah.
think they're
Oh, yeah.
just
Yeah, I like the light.
standard.
That's nice.
Can't
That's
find
cool.
one.
It makes it a nice little conversation piece. I like that.
I just like how he blocked out his license plate right here, but then you can see it right here.
Oh, what?
Classic.
So, but
Classic.
yeah, so I thought that was
Guys.
a very different but cool
Yeah.
rap. So
Wait, this is from the Cybertruck Owners Forum. I'll
It
just
is.
wait for Nick to post
Yeah,
it. I'll
there you
I'll
go.
just follow.
It'll be there in a minute.
there, okay.
Shots
Shots
fired.
fired.
Man down, man
It'll
down.
be
Shots
copied
fired.
over there soon.
Are you still beefing with that man, Chase?
No, it's quite seriously. He posted another thing, and like I was trying to tell the issue with him, and I'm like, he goes on the Cybertruck Owners Forum, and he just literally copies pastes and puts all of his content on his X account, and then the one that was shared, because I think it was like a photo from like the battery without the truck, so it was just like just the battery. And lo and behold, I went and searched after I made that statement, and yep, he did exactly, like literally, like he stole it from one post that had no comments. It was only up for a couple hours before he ripped it, and he didn't even like comment, or he didn't even like share back to, hey, this is where I got it from. He was just like, hip, this is what it is.
I'm gonna go ahead and reach out to him, see if he wants to come on the podcast.
Oh, I'm sure he would be grateful to be on here. Like because I put the whole like jumping video and footage all on the owners forum. He didn't steal that, because that was after he blocked me for calling him out for grifting.
I was gonna say, you have beef with him, so yeah, he's definitely not sharing your information.
I mean, it's just more power to him. If all he has to do is just copy paste, then he can make $2,000 a month for making content that's not his content.
I mean, if I guess I just gotta start doing that.
Yeah.
Gotta pay for this Cybertruck.
It's pretty typical. Like, it's always happened. You know, kind of internet arbitrage.
Oh yeah.
I remember back in the day when, you know,
history.
like there used to be stuff on, I think it was Fark.com and Something Awful, and they would steal from each other and accuse each other of stealing. Yeah, and then it would show up on Dig. Now it's Reddit. Some people, and that's, I think, where social media has kind of gone into just exploit and dig out the last bit of value in the internet. They just go to other people's stuff and reblog it as their own.
Which I feel like, just kind of like keeping an ear to the ground, it seems like, at least with X, they're trying to like kind of fix that in a way. Like, they are pulling back some of the, you know, the overpaying people for their content, because that's really what was going on. It's like, you can make a lot of money if you had a lot of engagement, and you had a lot of engagement if you already had a lot of followers. It's like, but it's like, you're going to get regurgitated content like that from those big content creators. But if you want to actually get the good stuff and the meat and the potatoes, you want to follow those niche, you know, people that are posting stuff that you really care about, but they're not really getting incentivized to post that. So got to fix the money somehow.
Well, I'm gonna invite him on, see if he can.
And about that, I'd be curious kind of conversation.
All right. Well,
I have nothing personal against him, but
Jay's in chat saying good night. Time to go watch some baseball. Jay, I'm right there with you. Go Dodgers. So, all right, guys.
All right.
Cubs fan.
I'll get my internet fixed by next time.
Get some Starlink.
Thanks to everybody that came and watched us
Later.
this week. Thank you, guys.
Peace.
Good night.